that are canonical that came into our collection, like the Warhol, the Jasper Johns, the big names, and looking at them as anchors for and in dialogue with our with other works like you.
Think about how to articulate that future when there's so much uncertainty, both for ourselves institutionally and personally when you're talking to people who might be feeling that.
And I'm gonna maybe start with the silver lining, and the silver lining is that we deal with art. And art is, as I always say, an essential human need. And in times of crisis, I think people need more art. And I feel very privileged and have a sense of pride. We have a rather small museum compared with your institutions, and everyone is always upset that when they come, they see cutting edge, changing exhibitions, but not a lot of the permanent collection. And what aligned was not just this moment, but also the fact that it's our 60th anniversary. So looking at 6 decades of collecting, including the first.
Basically no money from government sources other than the occasional grant. So we're really reliant on earned revenue, not just philanthropy, but tickets and parking and shop sales and group tours and restaurant cuts and weddings. And now that we've reopened, most of those revenue streams, they were non-existent during closure, but even with reopening, they're extremely low to non-existent because we're having to balance everything with safety, of course. So we're seeing this as a really long road, even if all goes well, and I'm sure that's the same for all of you. But I think the challenges are a little different, and I know this from being a board.
Work to other museums has been impacted, and our capacity to do kind of business as usual is just out the window. I mean, we really aren't doing what we used to do. Our luck is that we have a collection exhibition planned that will not require loans. And we more or less, like other museums, have a moratorium on international loans. We don't send our work out because we don't want our items stranded.
Big museum, and I think Cornell mentioned 500,000 objects. There's just so much in our archive. There's so many connections that we can build within our own collection. And with this moratorium on international lending, even on domestic lending, really, not just us to other institutions, but also other institutions and private collectors to us, we're seeing a lot more interesting ideas come up about ways that we can install, reinstall, reinterpret, mix up our own collection in new ways, build connections that we haven't built before. We're working on an exhibition right now that's but it's sort of the difference between saying, if you give, you're helping us bail water out of the ship, versus saying or showing people that if they give, they're going to help us steer the ship in the right direction for the future, and really demonstrating that we can't move forward on all of these wonderful things that we might have planned without that solid foundation. So it's hard because things are dire, but we also can't rely on that message in our communication. We need to really think about how we're articulating our vision for the future, and how much there is to look forward to, both from major progress on efforts towards creating a more inclusive institution.